A heated debate regarding the six-piece voting pattern which has taken this region by storm. In the studio, I have two gentlemen who are going to debate on this issue, this emotive issue, actually, if I could call it so. And on my right, we have Salim Odeny. Salim Odeny is a governance expert and a member of the Nyanza presidential campaign team for NASA. And on my left is Viscount Owuor, who is a human rights activist and an opinion leader. Both gentlemen are going to share with us their thoughts on the six-piece voting pattern, which, as you are aware, last week caused some little commotion in some areas where the NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga was conducting some campaigns. In Rarieda, we saw a group of angry youths disrupting the presidential candidate's rally there, and same happened in Migori. And we would just like to hear from the two gentlemen here what actually is happening on the ground. Let's start by Salim, who is a proponent of the three-piece voting pattern. Salim.
Yes.
Do you think, or do you strongly believe that the six-piece gospel is being received well in Nyanza?
Yeah, my honest belief and opinion, therefore, is that six-piece gospel is being received very well in Nyanza. When we began, of course, there was a lot of resistance. But with time, people are receiving it, and because we are explaining to them the essence and the rationale behind supporting six-piece and voting for party candidates.
What is the rationale behind it?
There are several rationales behind voting for party candidates. Number one is a question of party strength, that the strength of the party is being measured only on the basis of the people that are elected on that party. If you don't have anybody who is elected on a party, even if that party has stayed for so long, it will not be considered a strong party. And ODM is the strongest party in this country, as we are speaking. The other issue are issues to do with disciplinary actions. It's very simple and very easy to discipline a member who is elected either to the legislature or even to the executive who belongs to a party, as opposed to somebody who is elected as an independent. You may not be able to discipline them or to take any disciplinary measure against them. And there's a whole array of issues, including the question of nomination, that you can only nominate people if you have people elected in your party. And we have those slots to be filled in. Independent people cannot nominate anybody.
Just hold it there, and then let's bring in the Viscount, who apparently is of a conflicting opinion regarding the six-piece voting pattern. Viscount, do you agree with this?
My name again is Viscount Owuor. Before we talk about six-piece, there are certain principles that we need to understand about a political party as an institution. And one of them, which the Constitution talks about in Article 91, is that parties are supposed to be run on the basis of the principles of democracy, good governance, equality, equity, and rule of law. So we want a political party system where if we go to the elections, we are very sure that elections will be undertaken in a fair and transparent manner. When that does not happen, as the people, we must get an alternative. And that is where the independent candidature comes in. That going into the main general election, we have an alternative where candidates can now go to the people, where we are very sure that there are more elaborate systems and structures to ensure that the voice of the people is heard. And so when someone is talking about six-piece, that is like an omnibus where everything is put together and they are doing catwalking in a group so that you are not able to scrutinize every candidate. If they are very sure about their candidates, whom they said were popular, and on that basis they were given party tickets, why don't they sell those candidates individually so that we are told, I am standing as a candidate for governor, these are my policies, these are my ideologies, this is what I believe in, and on that basis I want to be elected.
Why don't you sell your candidates?
That argument is so defeatist, because you cannot begin and purport to cite Article 91 that talks about political parties and how they should manage themselves, and then he says a political party fails to do that, they find an alternative on independent candidacy, which Constitution in Article 91 is not talking about it. Because independent candidates, there is nothing that talks about democracy, equity, and all those principles that he was mentioning. If he told me that ODM did not conduct this, and therefore we founded another party that will be also bound by Article 91, that would make sense.
But
arguing like that, and then he goes to independent, which is not bound by that article that he's citing, that is defeatist.
Don't you appreciate that some of those candidates?
Number two, I will get to that, Ouko. Number two is what he's saying, why don't we sell candidates individually? That's also defeatist, in my own opinion, and very myopic. Simplistic, to say the least. Because all elections and all politics is local. We all vote in the polling station. Why should I come with an MCA to this polling station, sell him, and then come with the governor the following week? Because the same people are going to vote for the governor, for the MCA, for the women rep, for the senator. Why do I bring them individually each and every time? Do I have all that time? I can bring them all together and talk to the same voter who is going to vote for all these candidates who belong to my party. So I think he needs to reflect on that further and make it even more better.
I was trying to bring in a point that some of these independent candidates, initially they were in ODM. And actually the reason why they have decided to go independent is because the nominations or the primaries were not free, fair, and credible.
I don't agree with that, Ouko. Because one, Mahatma Gandhi talks about 7 social ills. And he says number 1 is politics without principles. That if I believe in a political party, then I should run in that political party. An independent candidate that was envisioned in the constitution is not this kind of people that I see in Luo, Nyanza, and wherever. Maybe somebody like Miguna, who says, I don't belong to Jubilee, I don't belong to ODM, I'm an independent candidate. You don't go run in a party primary, lose in that party primary, and then you turn yourself to be independent. That's not it. These are people without principles.
Do you agree that independent candidates are rebels and they don't have principles?
If there were rebels without a cause, then we would not be talking about values. We would not be talking about principles. And what we are saying is that if parties cannot ensure that the electoral process is conducted in a fair and transparent manner, then we must have a recourse. We must have an alternative. It cannot be a slaughterhouse, so that when something turns bad, then that is the end of it. Initially, they had planned, it was kind of a conspiracy by political parties to ensure that people do not hope into another party, even if the primaries is as shambolic as it was. But the independent candidates gave people some kind of a window of escape from this slaughterhouse. Mm-hmm. So what we are saying is that we are members of political parties. But because of the manner in which political parties are being managed, we must get an alternative.
Okusah, this must not go unchallenged. There's something he's mentioning here.
Let me finish. There is one point that people forget, that political parties first are being financed by the taxpayers' money. Secondly, any official of the party, if he gets nomination to parliament, to the county assembly, he gets paid by the taxpayers' money. So these are not private institutions. These are public institutions, and they must remain accountable. When they are not accountable, we must get an alternative. That is where the independent candidacy comes in. Mm-hmm. If we did not have an alternative, that means we would be at the mercy of political parties, so that you are slaughtered and there's nothing that you can do.
I want to say something, Okusah, on what he's saying, that initially they wanted to lock out people so that there would be no party hopping. Maybe he ought to have explained this day, because a number of people were running as independent, and the same legislators that passed the same bill. It was Jacoyo Midiwo, it was Yugi Magwanga, it was Nicholas Gumbo, it was Oner, it was Sylvan Sosele. These are the same guys who passed the same bill in parliament. So you cannot blame the political party ODM for seeking to block them out, and yet they were the legislators that passed the same bill. 2 is the question of what you are asking about being rebels. Yes. To me, these guys who are running as independent, they are so rogue and so rebellious, because they don't even believe in our general cause. If they believed in ODM, they should have believed in Raila's presidency. Look at what they are doing. They don't even believe in Raila's presidency. Like for the case of Siaya, the only time that the supporters of Gumbo disrupt the rallies is when Raila Odinga is on the podium. They did that in Bondo, they did that in Rarieda. The only time they disrupt. When Rasanga is alone, they don't disrupt his rallies. But when Raila is there and Raila is taking to the podium to speak, they disrupt.
Why? Is it because they feel that he's meddling?
That's now what begging. Let me now even mix it up with what a supporter and a staff of Ranguma in the communication department called Odhiambo Tieno said. That a day is coming when Raila Odinga will die. We will have peace. a supporter of Ranguma, saying the day is coming when Raila will die, and he's posting this on Facebook, saying that Raila will die, we'll have peace. So they are personalizing. Later on he pulled it down. But then they are personalizing because they are forgetting that political party now is saying is public. But then they individualize it to Raila. Where does Raila come in? If it is an institution that is public, why do we criticize Raila for political party nomination that we say was shambolic?
Okay, let's hear Viscount.
I think this is a national platform, and we need to talk based on facts and not propaganda. To pull something, a screenshot of Facebook as evidence, and call someone's name and the governor's name, I think that is very unfair, and they need to maybe amend that. The other thing,
there's no amend to that.
There's no problem. There
is
no problem.
Let him deny, not you.
There is no problem.
Let's confine ourselves.
The other thing that Salim has said, that independence candidates, especially from Nyanza, are against the presidency of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, is very wrong. Because I want to start from Busia. Paulo Tuoma himself said, if it is the ODM ticket that is going to make me engage on battles that is going to cost Raila Odinga's presidency, then I will leave the ticket, go as an independent candidate, and ask for the people's votes independently, and campaign for Raila Odinga. Here in Kisumu, every time Ranguma speaks, the last bit he makes is an appeal that turn out as the people of Kisumu and vote for Raila Odinga. If it is Magwanga, it is the same message. If you go to Migori or Chilayaku, that is the same message. But what these people do is to brand you.
You're calling us these people. You're calling political party. You're calling ODM party and Raila Odinga these people.
Proponents.
Proponents include Raila.
I have amended that.
Confirming my point. It's even calling Raila these people.
Give me my time. Give me my time. I have amended that.
Correct.
Proponents of 6Ps thrive on branding, profiling, so that anytime you not agree on a matter of principle, you are called a Jubilee mode.
Viscount, let me just put a comma and ask you this.
Yes.
If the candidates you've mentioned support Raila, how come they also at the same time hire goons to disrupt
his meetings? Exactly the question.
I myself, I am not aware on any occasion that Governor Ranguma, as an independent candidate of Kisumu, has hired goons to disrupt ODM rally. I am not aware. No.
It's on record.
For me.
I'm making you aware. I'm not speaking for you.
Don't inform me.
You've admitted you're not aware. I'm making you aware.
Give me my time.
I'm making you aware.
Give me my time.
But then he's talking from the perspective, from the point of not being aware.
Give me my time, Salim.
Just give it
to say unaware.
Give you your time.
We are on a platform. Be civil. Be civil.
Civility is not accepting unaware.
I am not aware on an occasion that Governor Ranguma hired goons to disrupt or ODM.
Let's move
the other thing.
Forward,
lastly, it should go on record that if we are candidates pitching for the same presidential candidate, it means you are going to mobilize your votes. It means you are going to mobilize your votes. It means I am going to mobilize my votes. At the end of the day, there will be more votes going to the same presidential candidate as opposed to if we just had one ODM candidate. So it is even advantageous for NASA to make sure that all independent candidates supporting the cause, plus all other affiliate parties, go out there and pitch for Raila Odinga.
Fallacy, Okusah.
They don't want
what
us
is
to
this
do
thing
that.
is calling cause? Because cause should be NASA candidates going through. Independent candidates are a threat to that cause, so they cannot purport to be supporting the cause. Which cause? In this case, what is the cause then? Because NASA has got its own candidates. We are campaigning for them in Nyanza now as a Nyanza presidential campaign team member. We are campaigning for them. You are telling me to work with independent, who is a threat to this cause, and you are telling me supporting the cause. Which cause now? If they are running against our candidates. And in politics, we cannot have a middle ground. You're either for NASA or you are for Jubilee. You cannot tell me that I'm working for NASA and you're independent. You're not working with NASA. Because the first step you took, like Ranguma, the first step you took was to write official letter to ODM to say that I've resigned. From today henceforth, I'm no longer ODM member. How do I embrace him again if he has resigned from being a member of ODM and he has left the party? So you cannot be a middle ground guy that you say I'm also belonging to the party. That cannot work.
Okay.
You are either independent or you belong to the party.
Gentlemen, I know this debate is going to get heated more than this, and we want to end it in that heated level. But before we do so, let me give Viscount one last chance just to tell us what his views are moving forward. Do you think that the 6-piece voting pattern, which is being preached by Odeny's camp, is healthy or unhealthy for the politics in this region?
6-piece is conmanship. It is the worst thing or message that a serious person who is concerned about the future of this country can propagate. Governance is very important to us. We should elect candidates on the basis of their ability to make sure that service delivery is availed, that we are running a smooth government, whether it is at the national level or county level. And the only way we can do that is to examine every person who is participating in an election so that we vote on the basis of competence, integrity, and other values. If we are being told that we should combine all candidates, put them in some bus, and then vote as a group, then we can have even dogs wearing political parties' colors going through inside the bus.
Okay.
Because...
Okay. Let him have his 30 seconds.
Beginning from where he's talking about the dogs.
30 seconds.
Some of the independent candidates actually said if dogs came in the name of the party, they would be elected. Honorable Jakoyo Midi is on record, Jakoyo Midiwo, for saying that if the party gave us a dog, we'll vote for the dog in 2013. Then back to what he said he was not aware. Our rally, before our rally, we were burying Ouko Owuor, a former member of parliament. Goons were hired, they disrupted our rally, our speeches during the funeral. Then recently when Senator Outa was launching his bid, a few young people, 27 of them, were arrested when they were coming to disrupt the same rally. These are in records, and even the media houses reported this. So if he's not aware, then he should be aware. Then finally is the question of independent candidate with Raila Odinga. In 2013, during the Supreme Court engagement, Ahmed Nasir and actually the lawyers of Jubilee asked Raila Odinga that if you really won in the presidency, how comes that Jubilee has beaten you with the members of parliament, senators, women reps, MCAs? So these people really matter, because we don't want such an engagement again in 2017.
Okay, gentlemen.
The governors are the implementers of the manifesto.
It's okay, gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
You only use the executive to implement the manifesto. You need the president and governor for that. Do you have a manifesto as independent?
Thanks a lot, Salim. Thanks a lot, Viscount.